Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. For those of you that don't know, I spent some time in the Army, 6 years to be exact. So I've learned how to survive. I've learned how to do certain things. But I wanted to talk to you today about if, everybody talks about the apocalypse, the end of days, or, oh, we're going to have zombies, oh, we're going to have aliens, or what if the power grid shuts down and we lose, power to everything, we go back to the dark ages or whatnot. Sometimes we don't use the good sense that God gave us. Sometimes you have to learn how to be self-sufficient. Learn how to do those things that are supposed to come natural to us as human beings. So, I'm going to talk about how to survive. First thing you need to do, or the first tip in survival, is fucking be quiet. If you ever watch these movies, what's the one thing that drives you crazy in these survival movies? You always got that one person talking too fucking loud. Whether you're in the woods or you're in an abandoned home or you're somewhere and you're trying to survive or live off the land, be quiet. All that noise you're making, you're going to attract the wrong environment. Whether it's a human being or an animal or whatever, be quiet. Be quiet. That's rule number one in survival. Be quiet. But if you ever get to that point or you start feeling like it's going to happen, you want to stockpile necessities. Like non-perishable items, things that you can keep forever, canned foods, dried grains, dried fruits, protein bars, long-lasting snacks, water, bottled water. There's a trick where you can use rocks, sand, I think like charcoal and something else to turn creek water or whatever river water that you're around, you can turn it into clean drinking water. I can get into that another day. All you need is like a bucket, and those three things to help filter the water to make sure that it's clean. Or if you're from around here, you can just go to Cave Springs and just get a bunch of buckets of that water. Make sure you get enough medical supplies. Your prescriptions, first aid kit, basic hygiene items, just any type of medical supplies. Make sure you stockpile on that. Go get you a couple of gasoline cans, load up on fuel, and get you a good generator. That's another thing too. Get you a real good generator. They got so many different types of generators now that you can buy online. That'll help you if everything just shuts down and you got to maintain. And another trick that I learned from my mom back in the blizzard of, I think it was 93 or 92 or whatever, a good grill. Go buy you some charcoal. You can cook everything on the grill. Light it up. You can cook whatever you need to cook on the grill. It's just as good as a stove. If you know how to grill, it's just as good. You want to make sure that you're getting the necessities. But going back to what I was talking about, developing self-sufficient skills. Self-sufficient means that you got to learn how to do things for yourself. Gardening, learn how to garden, learn how to grow vegetables, learn what each flower means. Things like that, learn how to use your environment. What does this plant do? What does this flower do? But you want to grow your vegetables. You want to grow different crops and different items. Go buy you some, bags of seeds. All those little bags of seeds that they have at the store that you just walk by all the time. It's very important that you learn, how to have a green thumb. You got to learn how to use that stuff. Rainwater. Collecting rainwater, learning how to purify it for drinking, energy conservation, minimalizing energy use. Definitely want to do that. That helps you learn how to do that now. If you look at my last couple of posts, I was talking about that, saving energy and stuff like that. But, turning off lights, make sure that you have layered clothing on. If all the power is off of your cold, layer. Keep, throw layer on layer on layer until you start feeling, warm. But, like I said, if you get to this point and everything's shut down and you feel like everybody done turned into, like it's a dystopian future and everybody done turned into cannibals and the world's done gone to hell, there might still be some good people out there. So you want to start community building, neighbors, get with your neighbors, the ones that you trust, or maybe start forming bonds with them, establish relationships with them so y'all can share resources with each other. Skill sharing. If somebody else knows how to do something and you know how to do something they don't know how to do, y'all can bargain or barter, use the barter system. Y'all can bargain with that. Staying informed. Make sure that you have access to a radio. Not your cell phones, because of course everything's out, but like a low antenna radio, satellite communications if you can get to them around the satellite. Just alternate methods of communication. Those emergency alert radios where you can hear the emergency broadcasts and stuff like that. You want to make sure you get one of those as well. You want to stay informed. But at this point, of course, you're going to have people that's crying, people that's scared, but you want to adapt. You want to learn now. Learn it now. Learn how to adapt to changing circumstances. Learn how to use your resources, rationing food and water carefully. Learn that now. Learn about energy resources and conserving them. Learn about like solar panels and, hand crank generators for power. Learn about those things. Learn about how you can get power from different things. We gotten so lazy. We just turn the light switch on and, turn that on and here goes the power. But you got to learn how to do it the old-fashioned way, because if everything gets shut down, you have to know how to do these simple things. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to do stuff when everything goes to shit. So, important things to consider. One of the important things to consider is to be mentally prepared. Like I said, people are going to be scared. Once you change somebody's lifestyle drastically like that, and they have to learn how to survive, it's hard to maintain positive attitudes. And it's hard to manage stress because people are so used to being on their phone every day. If you shut all this stuff down, you shut the tablets down, the computers, TV, the tablets, phones, you can just imagine people going crazy. We're so used to it. We're so used to having access to things and everything being so simple. So you have to learn how to mentally be prepared for this stuff. Another thing you got to do is check into your local regulations. Follow any guidelines or routines or instructions provided by local authorities. Because trust me, when the shit hits the fan, and that's going to be the people that's going to start trying to dole out things that we have to do. So make sure that you're keeping up with what you have to do, and always keep up with your physical health. I mean, everything's shut off, everything's shut down. It's a perfect time to start doing push-ups and sit-ups. Going for a nice little run. Exercise every day to stay fit. It helps with your mental and your physical. Assess every situation. Evaluate your surroundings. Make sure that you have no injuries and the people around you don't have no injuries. Immediate needs, whatever the immediate needs are. But you always have to determine the best course of action. Remember, you might be left to have to be a leader. Or if it's just you, it's just you. You have to know how to determine the best course of action for everything. You can't just be like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do this or that. You got to start learning now. Find you a secure shelter. That's a big thing. Find you a place where it's secure. You preferably want you want to have a perimeter where you can keep your eye on everything. You don't want to have somewhere where it's too many blind spots. You don't know who's around you or what's going on. So you want to make sure that you find a safe, secure shelter. Um, Now, if you just staying in your house, you just staying in your house. But, who knows? You might have to go out to the woods. You might have to go walking. You've seen movies. Things can happen. And you want to make sure that you're in survival mode and that you find a safe, secure area for you and your loved ones. Another thing you want to do is learn how to start a fire. There's so many different ways. But building a fire, of course, provides warmth, gives you light. You can use it for cooking or signaling. That's why I said it's important to have, gasoline. It's important to have charcoal, lighters, matches. If you know how to make a spark, you can use rocks, you can use sticks, you can use certain knives. Certain knives are made to spark a fire. You can find you some dry leaves or some dry rubbish. You can start a fire with that. But yeah, like I said, those are some basic things. Everybody's gonna have their way of doing stuff. But if like I said, if you get to these points, these are some things that you got to consider. And a major thing is navigation. Remember, you can't use your GPS anymore now. So you have to learn where's north, where's south, where's east, and where's west. You have to learn those things, Where's the sunset? The sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So that's how you start. Or if you know your city or town that you live in, you know where east and you know where west is, you know how to head that way. So, you have to learn how to you got to learn how to navigate. Learn how to navigate. Learn how to use your terrain and your surroundings. You have to know what's around you. At this point, you need to make sure that you have the right type of clothing. Make sure that you can find you a good pair of boots, a good pair of insoles, pantyhose help so you don't get blisters on your feet. Things like that. You want to make sure you have the right type of socks. Everything, always be changing this stuff. Take them off, change them, make sure they're not wet, make sure they're always dry. But you want to make sure that you have some sturdy shoes on if you got to hike or if you got to walk a good distance. All this stuff is very important. The clothing, make sure that you have different types of clothing for the climate. We're going to talk about some do's and don'ts. So the first thing you want to do is stay calm. Like I told you earlier, don't do a whole lot of talking. Stay calm and think clearly, okay? Don't panic and don't make rash decisions just because your anxiety's kicked in or you're stressed. Remember, you're in survival mode. And I love stuff like this because I kind of grew up watching this stuff. I used to watch, survival stuff on, I forget what channel it was, A&E. I think it was like A&E Bravo, one of those channels. Even like Naked and Afraid. I love that stuff because sometimes, you never know when you're going to get into some stuff and it's good to learn. But, you want to adapt to weather conditions, always be checking the weather. Always learn how to check the weather without using the weather channel. Check where the wind is going. We can always, you from the country, you can always smell when it's going to rain, so you should know that one. Just always be checking the weather. Learn it now. And I encourage all y'all to go take wilderness training. I have a lot of people that say, oh, I love to hike and I want to learn how to camp. You can go do wilderness training. You can go somewhere where they can teach you this stuff. But it's good to learn. The last two things I'm going to talk about, and then I'll let you go, is survival weapons. So this is the fun part. You're going to need a weapon because people are stupid and animals are dangerous. And you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. Like I said, if everything shuts down and we just go into a dark age and we don't know when the power's ever going to come back on, and we done went months without food and rations, all this and that, people are going to start getting stupid. People gonna start doing dumb stuff. People gonna start raiding your things because you got to think about it. It probably ain't gonna be no police around. It's probably not gonna be a whole lot of help. So you're gonna have to make sure that, for one, you know how to use a gun and you know how to use a knife. Now, knife is a little different. It's pretty clear cut. You stab them. You just got to know where to stab. You want to, for you nurses, I'm sure the nurses know exactly where to stab. The end part of the thigh, up high on the thigh, the arteries. You want to puncture the lungs, kidneys, things like that. But the best gun to get is a Ruger 10/22. So a Ruger, Ruger 10/22. It's probably the best rifle that you can buy. And it's got you can do so many different modifications to it to make sure that it's, the right one for you. I think it uses like 22 caliber ammo. I think that's what it is. But it's good for hunting, and it's good for protection. Survival knife. If you want to get a survival knife, I'll probably get the KA Bar. It's called KA Bar BK7. It's a good survival knife. And I know I'm probably talking gibberish to some of y'all, but just look that stuff up. I guarantee you it's a fun little look. You want to make sure that you're just prepared for everything. But I have a passion for survival stuff. I love it. And I could talk about this all day. But that's just a couple of things to remember. That's something fun you can do. That's a DIY you can do, where you can just go to Bass Pro Shops or go somewhere and be like, you know what? I'm going to make a survival bag. I'm going to get me a duffel bag or just a big ass bag, and I'm going to put every survival thing I can think of in there, just in case stuff go wrong. Or I'm going to use my basement, I'm going to use my pantry or whatever, and I'm going to stockpile. I'm going to do it now just in case if things go wrong. But that's just something to think about. I wanted to do something fun, something for y'all to think about. But like I said, it's just my unsolicited advice. You can take it or leave it.